So as you know, we are here for our third workshop of our Grow Your Visibility workshop series. And tonight we are with Josie LoPorto Freeborn. Hi, Josie.
Hi.
Hi, and I'm really pleased that you are here. For everybody, Josie and I met on a summit, the Be Camera Ready Summit in January, I think already. And well, we immediately connected because we both have the same feeling about business and how to run a business. We both feel that mindfulness is very important in our businesses, and sincerity and being your authentic self, even if that means that sometimes you show up as a hot mess, which I'm very good at, and well, Josie as well, every now and then. So we recognized each other in that. And I'll need to get my notifications off. Sorry, guys. So, well, that's the hot mess. Voila, there it is. So yeah, we both like to inspire our clients to do that as well, to just show up as your natural, authentic self and be sincere, etc. So yeah, we would like to help you build your confidence. And so Josie is showing how you can do that with makeup, with mindful makeup. And maybe Josie, you want to tell something about yourself and your business?
For sure. Thanks. I'm actually very honored. I'm excited to be here with you, Petra. Um, I find that the hot mess, the authenticity of a hot mess, oftentimes we as women or mamas, business entrepreneurs, we try to hide that hot mess. And so I'm all about coming at the world raw, real, how we are, authentically us, embracing who we are. And I teach women how to take that overwhelm, that hot mess that we feel, and turn it into our superpower. And I like to call it our superpower because it is something that we, as these hot mess mamas or hot mess women, or just crazy overwhelmed women, however you want to call it, we oftentimes try to make that less than what it really is. And it's authentically a part of us, then we should embrace that and turn it into something that is beautiful and that we can use as what I call our superpower. And so I work with women, specifically overwhelmed mamas, who find it challenging to deal with their hot mess every day, maybe because they have anxiety, maybe because, in my case, they may have an acquired brain injury that affects how they see the world. So, my focus as a holistic healthcare practitioner is on women, and it started that way with women who have challenges with the world around them. And instead of trying to fight against it and try to be who they're not, and feel very ashamed and maybe not confident, I've taken that and have begun to work with women who all feel like the hot mess. And since then, I have become known as the hot mess mama. That's my tagline these days. Working with mindfulness, gratitude, overcoming adversities through resiliency, mindfulness, gratitude, grit, dot, 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 when you see it written, and a little bit of makeup. And I always say funky shoes too. So, this is who I have become. And I'm excited to be here to help some women learn an unconventional way of including mindfulness into their life. Because when we hear mindfulness, we think, I can't do that. It's too hard. I don't have time to put it into my life. So, I'm here today to share with you how you can put mindfulness in your busy life and make it something that will also boost your confidence using makeup. Because I am an esthetician and a makeup artist. That's my fun part of my job, too.
Sounds amazing, Josie. And what I forgot to say is that we have a Q&A at the end. So if anyone has any questions, you can put your questions in the chat, and Josie and I will reply at the end of this session. And Rachel is already saying, it's my lines I like to hide sometimes. So yeah, really cool that that the connection is there. I'm leaving it over to you now, and I'm muting myself, so everything, if anybody wants to say something, you can do that in the chat.
For sure. That's great. So, one thing I would welcome you to do, definitely, as Petra had said, is put your comments, your reactions, your questions in the chat. If there's something relevant to what I'm saying, I will gladly address it. So, Petra, if there's something urgent that needs to be addressed, please feel free to unmute yourself and just maybe draw my attention to it if it's relevant to what we're speaking about at that moment. I'm laid back. I mean, I try to be as easily accessible and friendly as possible. So what you won't find here with me is a whole bunch of slides. I love slides for a purpose, but I think today what the message that we're trying to get across about mindfulness and using makeup can't be really shown on a slide. So what I've done is I have my little side table here with some props that I'm going to be using. But first, what I wanted to go through was a little bit of a description of what mindfulness and confidence really mean, because we know in our mind what we think mindfulness might be. And you might be spot on, but you might be way off, because way back when I was first learning about mindfulness, during a positive psychology program that I was taking at university through a second year course, I thought mindfulness meant that I had to really sit down and meditate and do the like you do in yoga, or when you do go through those retreats or those mindfulness summits. However, what I didn't know was mindfulness can actually be something that's applied to help you overcome your overwhelm, to help get you grounded and centered in your day. And it's an excellent activity to start at the beginning of the day, throughout the day, once you get good at just doing it, and then at the end of the day. And mindfulness is something that actually is super simple, because all it requires is us to be, I'm going to use the word again, mindful of what we're doing. And I'll give you a quick example. And then I'm going to show you how we can do it using makeup, because makeup for us women, not all women, but makeup in some way, shape, or form can help boost confidence. Whether it be because it boosts your feeling about how you look about with yourself, or just the simple act of doing it can be fun for some. And if you're the type of person who you don't like to do makeup, that's okay too, because I teach you how a little bit of lip gloss can actually bring on some confidence without having to go all in. As you mentioned, Petra, before, I did do a workshop with one of our colleagues in her summit on makeup for the camera, for entrepreneurs, and how to be ready for the camera. Well, in order to be ready for your online summits or your camera photo shoots, you definitely have to have an air of confidence about you. So how do we marry mindfulness and confidence and makeup together? If you have any questions, like any answers about that, throw it in the chat. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. How do we marry mindfulness, makeup, and confidence? Some people may have a great answer, so I'm interested to hear your take on it. So please participate. This is exciting for me. I will tell you how I've done it. A little bit of background of myself is I am an esthetician. I am a certified makeup artist. I am a certified holistic healthcare practitioner, and I specialize in, as I mentioned earlier, helping women overcome that overwhelm, specifically anxiety, because that can be debilitating. But because of my background in aesthetics and as a reflexology practitioner, I understand how the energy flow of our body affects our mind, and in turn affects how we come out and present ourselves to the world that we're talking to, or the online world that we're talking to these days. Or I'm going to pick up my phone to do our own camera. And that's one thing I'm really intrigued with. What Petra helps us do is use our phones to do our own photography. So mindfulness is the act of being consciously aware of something you're doing. And I'll give you a little example. If you were to take a raisin, and this is how I first learned about mindfulness after I had 3 accidents that actually left me with a mild brain injury myself over 13 years ago. This is where my journey began in learning about all of this and how to integrate it to become the new me, not the old me who I used to be. So one of my colleagues gave me a raisin and said, "Here you go, Josie, here's a raisin." And I took it and I went to pop it in my mouth. And she said, "Nope, I want you to do first is look at it." So we're using our senses. We're visually looking at it. We're seeing what it looks like. Okay, that's cool. It's got little ridges and, oh, it might be golden brown color. And then we're going to touch it and we're going to feel it. And what does that do? What does it feel like on our fingers? And then we're going to put it in our mouth, but we're not going to bite it. We're going to feel it in our mouth. We're going to chew it and then swallow it, and be mindful of everything we're doing. So that gave me the perspective of exactly what mindfulness is. Yes, that's funny, since you had to chew a raisin mindfully, right? It's really an act of learning what mindfulness really is in such simple forms. Because mindfulness does not have to be the meditation practice, but meditation is being mindful. So we can apply mindfulness to everything that we do in our day. And what I'm here today is show you how to be mindfully applying your makeup. So what's really interesting is how we can do this. So first, before I talk about makeup and getting the mindful makeup application, is I'm going to talk about something that I think we all experience at some point in our life, is an overwhelm. No matter what we're doing, whether we're a mama like me, a hot mess mama, homeschooling mama, I got so much on the go all the time that I am this hot mess, and I embrace it authentically, being raw and real. But whether you're a mama, an entrepreneur, or both, or none, we still have the ability to incorporate mindfulness into our life to be beneficial. Now, when it comes to mindful makeup, I'm going to stay on task here. We need to look at what is included in a makeup application and how can that help us use mindfulness and become more confident. So the very first step when we're looking at makeup is taking care of our skin, because our skin, if we don't properly take care of our skin, here comes the esthetician part of me, we don't have a really great foundation, or we might have an okay foundation to apply our foundation, our makeup. But what we omit sometimes is we just get up in the morning, wash our face, and then throw on our makeup. And we don't do it mindfully because we're in a hurry. But what I can do is help you learn a very simple makeup strategy so that you can become mindful. More importantly, how to include the act of self-care in your life so that you can feel more relaxed. Because when you feel more relaxed, we can come across as more confident. So I'm tying it in here. Mindfulness, relaxation, no overwhelm, becoming more confident. So then we look better. We have a better appearance because now we feel better inside. I don't care what you say. You can put your beautiful face of makeup on and look amazing. But if inside here you don't feel calm, you don't feel mindful, I guess, you don't feel that you are put together, no matter how your appearance is, you will come across in a whole different way than maybe you're intending to. And maybe you don't see it, but other people can see it. So the goal here is to help you learn how to do something for self-care for you to become more confident in yourself. So let me now, with all the premise that I just said, let me go into the nitty-gritty here. So when it comes to self-care and skin prep, it's very important that before you apply your makeup, you take care of your skin, because this we only have one of, and we can't, we could change it, I suppose, with some facelifts and all that crazy stuff, but let's take care of it as best as we can. It's the gift that's been given to us. So the best thing we can do is take care of it. Cleanse. As an esthetician, I usually teach 5 steps in skincare. You have your cleansing, then you have your exfoliating that you do once a week, then you'd have your toning to rebalance your pH, then you'd have your mask, that's usually once a week too, and then you follow up with your serums, you follow up with your creams or lotions depending on your skin type. I'm not here to teach you that today. What I'm here to teach you is the importance of doing that. And then what I'll provide for you and for Petra, for all of your students, is a guide to the steps to skincare and then the tools that you can get. I'll provide that for you at the end of this that they can look at as a download. So when it comes to skin prep before makeup, let's say you've cleansed, you've already done that. At least get the dirt off your face before you're going to put something new on. And never go to bed wearing your makeup because, well, that's just a disaster for your skin for the long term. Your skin needs to breathe. So I'm going to take my glasses off right now because I don't have a whole room of people that I can demonstrate on, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is here for you to learn how to do it yourself. So if I did it on somebody else, you're not going to learn how to take your own hands and work it on your own face. So raw, real, unmade up face here, I'm going to show you what to do. So I've cleansed my face. Now the next step for me is going to be prepping for makeup. I'm going to take a serum that I have here, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of that. I'm using my fingers because it's easy. I don't have to have 12,000 brushes. As a makeup artist, I probably have darn close to that many. Just joking. I have lots and lots of makeup brushes, but I'm going to show you how you can do this minimally. So I've got my serum, and I'm not just going to do this. Okay, there, I'm done. I got it done. I got it on. You can do that. But remember, for the purposes of this workshop, we're talking about mindfulness. So I'm going to take that serum and pump it. And I'm going to feel what it's like to pump that onto my fingers. What does that feel like? Is it cold? Is it warm? And I'm going to be mindful about this. I'm going to rub it into my fingers. And then I'm going to apply it to my chin, my cheeks, my forehead, my nose. And let's not forget this beautiful part that we always forget about. Now, I'm going to rub this in and take my time. And as I'm doing this, I'm breathing in and I'm saying to myself, my skin feels soft, or my skin feels rough, or I like my skin. I'm trying to be positive with mindfulness, but I'm also being realistic. But what I'm doing is mostly feeling this. This is self-care. We don't do this enough, especially in the day of having the global challenges that we've had in the last couple years. We've not gone on to, many people have not gone to their facials. They've not gone to their estheticians. They've not gone to massage therapists. So we need to use our hands as tools for us. So what I've done is just applied my serum, and this is going to give me a nice moist foundation to apply the next step of makeup. But to do that mindfully, take just a few minutes and breathe in and feel what it's like. Feel how it glides onto your skin. That actually is part of your makeup because we have the skin prep first. Now, the next step that I'm going to show you about mindful makeup is about the brushes. Do you remember being a little kid? Have you ever had that where your mom or dad or aunt or sister, brother, somebody, I don't know, just would tickle your feet or tickle your hands or rub your face? I know I used to fall asleep to my mom rubbing my back. And that act of just that touch, that we have so many nerve endings on our skin that when we just have that act of touch, it actually can bring to us a feeling of calm. So how can we incorporate the act of touch with makeup and mindfulness? Our brushes are awesome tools for that because we feel what that brush feels like. Now, how does this brush feel? How is this going to make me confident? We're getting to the confidence part as we go through this, because with each time that I feel what my brush feels like on my face, it brings me calm. With more calm, and as I look into the mirror and I'm going to put my makeup on, I'm actually starting to see a transformation. And usually this transformation looks worse before it gets better, I promise you. I mean, for those of you who do wear makeup, you ever get a point where you're putting your eye makeup on going, oh gosh, that's kind of scary. But if you just persist and blend and blend and blend, eventually you get the job done and go, oh, that's pretty good. Or you might say, oh, that's pretty bad and I need some lessons. But that's a whole nother story. So what I'm going to do is grab up my little foundation here. And again, this is not a full-fledged, full-on makeup artistry lesson. This is mindfulness using makeup and how you can boost your confidence. So I'm just going to choose, I like to apply my foundation with a brush, and I use a cake foundation. Whatever foundation you use, you can do this, even if it's with your fingers. So I'm just going to take my foundation and I'm going to dip some in my brush. And then I'm going to look into my camera, and I'm going to actually look over here, and just take my foundation and apply it onto my face. Now, as I'm doing this mindfully, I'm feeling what that brush feels like. I'm going in circles. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about the kids downstairs or the dogs or the bathroom that needs cleaning. I'm not thinking about the chores that I have to do, although I'm talking about them right now. But for illustration purposes, I'm paying attention to getting the foundation on my brush and then putting it onto my face. Now, actually, for the purpose of this, maybe I'll just do half. So putting it onto my face, coming behind my ears. What does that feel like? Bringing my foundation down onto my neck, onto my chin, coming down and blending it. This feels soft. So I'm saying this to myself. This is my self-care. I love myself. We're doing positive affirmations. And guys, I know you might be laughing at this because we don't do this regularly. We just got to get the makeup on and we got to be fast so that we can go on to our next live or go into our, our meetings, wherever we have to do. That's okay. Even if you do this once a week and the rest of the time you go super fast, take some time in your morning routine to be able to do this in a mindful fashion. So we're just applying a foundation. I'm not doing concealers or anything here. Again, that's a more advanced tutorial on how to do the actual makeup full-fledged, but I'm just going through the act of using your tools and how to increase your mindfulness and awareness. So actually, I think I will do the full face because we are talking about confidence too, and I think if I do half a face, I might not feel so confident, although maybe I will. I don't know. So I'm just kind of quickly, just because I don't have my mirror set up here, I'm on my computer. They're just finishing that other side. But to be mindful with this can take you 5 minutes if you want. You can just sit here all day going like this, saying, oh, this is so nice. It feels great. But, all right, so there's the first step. I've applied my foundation. Now, when you're mindful about anything that you're doing, you're thinking about the tools that you're using. Does anybody here cook? Anybody like to use cooking as an outlet? I cook because I have to, but when I'm in the kitchen, I try to be mindful about it. Or else I might put cayenne pepper in instead of paprika or something in my food and my kids won't eat it. So mindfulness is about being aware of what you're doing rather than doing it without thought. So the next thing I'm going to do is the hardest part of makeup application are the eyes. But this is where you can be the most mindful about your makeup when you're doing your eyes, because you do have to focus or else you'll poke your eye and you might end up with an infection if something gets in there. So we want to be mindful about this. But the really great way about being mindful when you're doing your eye makeup is you can keep it as simple as possible, or you can go very detailed. Depending on your personality, you may become frustrated if you try to do some crazy cat eye because you want that look in your photo shoot, but you don't know how to do it. So let's not go there. Let's look at what your capabilities are and then work with what you have as your own skill level. And then if you want to learn things like that, that's where you go take another course and learn, similar to what you're doing here. With Petra's course, you're learning how to just be very, well, in this case, in our setting here, how to be mindful to gain your confidence. I'm going to be very simple. I'm going to choose one color on my eyes, just on my eyelids, and it's just a simple light color to brush the whole eyelid. Okay, and I'm feeling that. What does this brush feel like? It feels soft. Let me touch the brush. Here's an act of mindfulness. Let me feel what this is like. Oh, that's really cool. Do you ever get a new brush when you're doing your makeup application? It's so exciting. Well, for me it is. I don't know about you guys. It definitely is. So I'm looking at this. This act of being mindful is looking at my color and choosing, okay, which color? Let me see that color. What's it look like? It's light. And I'm going to apply this. But I'm feeling what it's like. I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. Now, I'm not going to go into doing a full-on cat eye or multicolored eye makeup here, but I am going to change my brush just because I want to take a different brush and be mindful about that. What does this brush feel like? Feel it on the back of your hands. And ladies, the reason why I'm going through this step-by-step, detail by detail, is I do work with women who specifically have lots of issues with anxiety, specifically postpartum anxiety after their children have been born. However, dealing with anxiety is very important to take step by step by step what you're doing so that you can get out of the moment of panic. I have a lot of women who come and work with makeup as their outlet when they have that moment of panic. They come, they grab their makeup, and they just do their mindfulness. Because when you have to get out of that overwhelm, you need something to focus your attention on. What better way than to, like, hey, do your eye makeup so that you can create that image of how you're going to feel about yourself too. So it's a side benefit. By being mindful in applying your makeup, when the outcome is done, you'll actually start to feel more confident because A, you've done it. B, you've taken time to now just calm yourself down and be mindful about it. And then move on to the end result where you can look in the mirror and go, wow, by the time you've put that lip gloss on, you've got your confidence boost. So I'm just going to take another brush and I'm going to take one more color. And I like to just apply a color on the bottom of my lid here. Again, my mirror is way up there, so I hope I'm doing okay in this tiny little. There, I just put a little bit of that different color on my lid. Again, we're not going to go into crease and what to do with different colors eyes, different colors of eyes. And again, I think I will just do the one side for time's sake. The next step that I like to do is finish off the eye with either liner or mascara. And again, being mindful about that. So when you're doing your mascara, I forgot my curler here, so time's sake, I'm not going to end up curling my eyes today or my eyelashes. But same thing, you curl your eyelashes. You have to be careful what you're doing or else you're going to hurt yourself. So you just go very gently, very calmly, and think to yourself, I'm curling my lashes. How does this feel? What does this make me feel like? How is this going to boost my confidence? And talk to yourself about that. And next thing you know, we're going to take our mascara. I actually like to bend the wand a little bit so that it comes out a little bit more at an angle so that I'm not actually poking my eye. See how it's not straight? It's down a little bit. And then applying my mascara. Again, I'm going to be very delicate in how I do this because my mirror, I'm actually just using my computer. And so I'm thinking, okay, that tickles a little bit. Oh, wow, that feels a little interesting. Oh, don't go into my eye because that will hurt. And just a little bit of mascara. Now, again, I realize I'm moving through this, rather quickly for the makeup application. But again, let's look at, you kind of get the gist of what we're doing. We're looking at our brush. We're seeing what it feels like. We're feeling it on our skin. That act alone helps release endorphins, believe it or not. I've taken years of studying how all of our senses affect our emotions. And believe it or not, this is quite the trendy thing that people are doing now, is this mindful makeup. What I'm going to do now is look at my blush. I have two here that I like to use. One is a darker color. So here's a little makeup tip. Take your darker color and then I pinch my blush brush. You can get an angled brush as well, but I like to use this one and pinch it. And then just under my cheekbone, we're just going to put a little bit under there and pull it down. Not all the way out here, because what we want to do is highlight the cheekbone so that we can feel uplifted. Think emotionally. When we're uplifting our skin, we're uplifting our face. What happens to our emotions? Believe it or not, they uplift as well. Anything we're doing uplifting physically to ourselves, mentally and emotionally, it's actually doing the same thing. So when you think go up, I'm thinking my emotions go up too. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon through a lot of the people that I have studied over the years with. Louise Hay, all of our body connections are integrated into our state of well-being. So our emotional health and our physical health are intertwined. And so this is kind of part of where all of this knowledge has come from. So I'm going to take my lighter color and then I'm going to highlight on the top of my cheek. What does this brush feel like? I can go as slow as I want. If I really need to be like focused, just take my time. Guys, I need an hour. I'm doing my makeup, although they know I could do it in 5 minutes. I need an hour. And so I'm just taking my time and putting my blush on. I'm always this kind of person. Oh, okay, I gotta do it so fast. But sometimes it's nice to be forced to take that time to slow down. So I'm just highlighting a little bit with a lighter color blush on my cheekbone, a little bit higher. We could use highlighters, cream highlighters, when we're doing our foundation. That's another option. And then I like to usually just blend the two together a little bit in this time of the year, almost like a bronzing effect, and just a little bit on the apple of my cheek. Just a little bit more right there on the apple of my cheek. So I have my darker color coming down here to make my cheekbone look higher, then my lighter color to come up and heighten. Light colors draw out, dark colors pull back. So what you want to accent, you want to put your lighter colors on, and what you want to draw back, you want to put your darker colors on. And then I just take a combo of the two just to kind of give myself that kissed look on my cheekbone. And I realize I only did half. Again, the purposes of this is not to show you makeup application in tutorial, that I will provide for you as well, but it's to show you how you can be mindful when you're applying your makeup, and now how you're going to boost your confidence. Then the next step is to take a finishing powder generally, and my finishing powder is a translucent powder. So I take that translucent powder, and this is where I'm going to just kind of put it on the rest of my face. I close my eyes, look up, and take that brush and feel what it feels like coming upwards on my neck, behind my ears. We always forget our ears. When you're doing a camera photography, you want to make sure you get your ears, especially if you have short hair like mine, because there's nothing covering that. And imagine you do your face and then your ears are a different color. Or we tend to stop here. And then what happens is you see people with a different color here. You want to match your foundation. This is a side note, kind of a side bonus here. When you're matching your foundation, you actually want to match it to your neck and your shoulder, not to just what you see here on your face, because your face typically gets exposed to more of the sunshine, which typically are going to be a little bit darker unless you're, out in the sun all the time. But this is a different color than our face usually is. So when you're matching your foundation, it's very important when I help somebody match that I have a photograph or see them in person what their neck and décolleté look like, so that when you put your makeup on, you don't have that mask look on. So that's why blending is always so important too, all over our full face. But the act of doing this creates that moment where I can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long you want to take to apply your makeup. And you want to make sure, sorry, I was just looking at the comments here, but I don't have my glasses on. I don't know if I've missed anything here. Yes, lighting. The lighting is definitely important when you take your photo. And doing makeup, when you're doing your makeup, you want to do a heavier application for your photography and for your Zoom and for your camera ready makeup than what you would do for your normal daily. You can still do the same colors, your same shades if you want to, but you have to do a heavier application, so that if you were to look at yourself just in the mirror, you'd go, whoa, I have too much makeup on. Because when you're taking your photographs, you're going to have a problem with the lighting causing you to look more washed out. So that's something, a little tip about how to do your lighting with your makeup and taking your photos. Natural light is obviously the best. I'm not the photographer expert. That's your department, Petra. But I know for makeup, whenever I do makeup for photo shoots, for boudoir photo shoots and things like that, I'm always adding a little bit more of a heavy hand, especially around the eyes and the cheeks. Now, that lip gloss, where does the lip gloss come in? The lip gloss comes in, believe it or not, how many of you have put on a pair of amazing shoes and you felt great about yourself? Or you put your lipstick on, even with the rest of your face done, the minute you take your lip gloss or your lipstick, now this is mine, so when I'm applying to my clients, I have other wands, but this is mine, so I'm going to use it right from here. The minute I do this, I put my lip gloss on. And the minute I do that, something about it triggers an emotional response to my brain to say, I'm ready to go. Although I'm not. I know my other half is not done and I don't have eyeliner on, but it says, I'm ready to go. The minute I do that, and the reason why is because I have used makeup as that emotional uplifting for myself. I know when I put makeup on, I'm ready to go. It gives me a mindset. It changes the way I look at myself. I don't see myself as the homeschooling mom. I see myself as the business mom when I put my makeup on. Now that is the trigger, and that's what we're all about. It's like an emotional anchoring. When you get yourself made up and you put your lips on, the minute you do that, it creates that trigger that I'm good to go. Now I noticed they're here, what is your tip for a more wrinkly neck? Anytime we're looking at wrinkles, anytime we're looking at these, in my business, we call them fine lines. Wrinkles is just like women don't sweat, we glow. Well, the reality is we get wrinkles as we get older, and especially in this area. So the answer to that question is twofold. Whenever you're doing makeup for a more mature skin that we have more lines, whether it be in our neck, around our eyes, around our jowl line right here. I don't like that word for women, but that's what they call it. creams are generally the best way to go, and a lighter cream that maybe you could mix in if you're using a foundation, mix it in with a moisturizer so that you're still getting some bit of coverage, but you're not caking it on. So when you're doing makeup, that's something that's very important to be mindful of. And so creams are very good, and you want to make sure the cream gets blended in. So using a soft brush like I had to apply your makeup like this, circular motion helps to blend it in, as opposed to using one of these little sponges. A stippling, it works. It gives a really good coverage as well. But what I find is when you use a brush as opposed to, say, your blender sponge, this will actually allow you to get into those creases a little bit more. So now you're not going to see those lines. Especially if you're using powders, you tend to see more. And in photography, your powders are going to reflect that light or attract that light depending on what shade of powders you're using. And you'll oftentimes see wrinkles more, especially in the eyes. Whenever you're doing eye makeup and you're using a cream shadow is wonderful, but if you're using a powdered shadow and you have more mature skin, you want to stay away from the shimmer colors. You want to stay away from the colors that have sheen to them or sparkle or glitter. You want to go more for the matte colors. And because the matte colors will tend to be a little bit more fluid in your application when you have that on your face. Even if you're using blush or bronzers, try to stay away from anything that attracts the light to you to enhance any part of your face that you don't want enhanced, such as those wrinkles. So anything matte. Your lips, I would say your lips, you can go all out. If you want to be shiny, do that on your lips because you can moisturize your lips. That's an important part that I didn't showcase here. But you moisturize your lips and then put your lipstick on. Then you can, you don't have to worry too much about the wrinkles or the lines in our lips. Everybody has wrinkles or lines in their lips. It's around. The second part to that was prep your skin. If you're worried about wrinkles, you're worried about those lines, how can you take care of your skin to prevent those? And what can you do when you do have them is to be proactive. Don't just get up in the morning, wash your face, and go and put your makeup on. You need to have a routine. And this is where when we do get more mature, I tend to have to push a little bit harder. Oh, I only wash with soap and water. That's great. But did you know what you do to your skin today actually will show up about 7 years from now? So think of how your skin is now and what you were doing 7 years ago. I know when I was 15 years old, 16 years old, I was sun tanning with baby oil. Yeesh. So I learned as I was in my 20s not to do that. But we do have to be mindful of how we take care of our skin so that makeup then can look better and then you feel better as well. Now, I see the SPF. Should you do your SPF before or after your moisturizer? So SPF is something that sometimes you can get that is included in your moisturizer. Myself, I'm a mineral SPF lover. I much prefer to have a powder SPF that I would apply to my skin. Different for my body, but for my face, because I personally get itchy with SPF. With creams and lotions that have SPF in them. So I'm all about being very mindful of what type of SPFs I use. So I prefer the mineral in a powder. If you want to use an SPF that is separate from your moisturizer, you're going to apply your SPF after your moisturizer because the moisturizer is going to go into your skin and nourish your skin. The moisturizer is food for your skin. SPF is protection for your skin. So you want to apply that on afterwards. Now, the finishing steps in doing your makeup is to either use a powder, like I said, or you can do both, a finishing powder, and then follow up with a spray. I have two options that I use. You can use a primer. If you're doing your makeup for your photography, you can prime your skin if need be. I don't always prime skin because I think that the moisturizing and the caring for your skin there will help for everyday makeup application. If you're going out to do a photo shoot, then a primer is definitely something that you could use to help cover up those fine lines. That can actually fill in some of those fine lines, make pores appear a little bit smaller so that when you are doing photography, that's a really good trick or tip into helping get that makeup go on more smoothly. It's like preparing your canvas. But for everyday wear, just for boosting your confidence, for using your mindfulness activities, you can just spritz up. I like to use a skin solution that it has a glutathione in it, so it's healthy for my skin. And then I just mist my skin with that, because this can go on makeup for refreshing the color. It can go on under makeup prior to prepare your skin, because it does give a little bit more of that tightening. Do you remember? Have any of you ever put egg white on your face? I remember being a teenager doing all these tips and putting egg white on my face to kind of make it tighter. Well, I don't have to put egg white on my face, because I have this spray that actually over time helps do tightening. Again, what does that do for me? Why is taking care of my skin so important? Taking care of my skin is important for my confidence, because how I look matters to me. It matters to me. And my husband taught me this. He says, Josie, you look great. And I'm like, yeah, you're my husband. You have to tell me that. But how I look matters in how I feel. And when I feel good, then I can present myself better to the rest of the world. And by doing it mindfully creates the calm that I need in order to feel better about myself. Rachel, what was that again? Was it the spray that I'm using? I'm going to put the links into everything that I use for this daily mindful makeup or daily camera ready makeup. But this is just, it's a glutathione spray that I have, and I'll post the link for it. The reason why I use this kind of spray is because it's food for my skin too. Everything I put on my skin, I want to have a purpose. Now, foundation doesn't necessarily have a nourishing purpose to my skin, except for gives me that nice glow, right? So everything else that I put on my skin, the prep work, is about minimizing those wrinkles and maximizing my elasticity, maximizing this tautness to my skin as I get older. I'm 46 years old. My mother's 68 years old. I've done skincare since I was 3 years old with my mother. She became a skincare consultant, and I just followed in her footsteps. But it took me a long time to realize this truly was my passion. So when it comes to skincare, yes, I'm 46. My kids keep me young. I had them at 36 and 38, so that's part of it. But I also blame my gray hairs on my kids. So, but skincare, I've taken care of my skin since I was 3 years old, and not using all skincare and makeup, but learning the steps and then becoming aware of how it makes me feel. That's how I boost my confidence. My sister says, I don't need makeup. I feel confident. And I said, that's fine. That's you. She does something different. I don't know what she does, but putting makeup on my face helps boost my confidence. But I'll tell you where it starts. It starts in the skincare. So being mindful about your skincare and self-care for yourself is showing yourself the love that you need. And it's about showing yourself how you can enhance your natural beauty. And if you want to cover up your natural beauty, that's okay too. I can show you tips and tricks on how to do that. But I specialize in teaching women how to love yourself, how to use mindfulness activities, because I need to get everything done fast, fast, fast. I can't have a separate mindful practice because of my schedule with my kids. So I've learned to incorporate the mindfulness into something that I have to do for when I show up, when my kids are done their homeschooling, and I come on here live with you guys. Now I realize my face is half done and I'm not the big reveal going, ooh, look, ooh, look. But in the time effort that it takes for me as a makeup artist to do your makeup on your face, I could get it done in 15 minutes. I could do it in a half hour. I usually take about 45 minutes to do your makeup, and sometimes upwards of an hour depending on what we need to do, because I'm your person, right? I'm your makeup artist. I enjoy the act of applying makeup, and you want to be pampered. But as a reality is, as us business women and mamas, we don't always have that time. So I need to incorporate my mindfulness, exactly, Petra, mindfulness into the daily tasks that I have to do. So for me, it's sitting down and doing my makeup. And really, guys, this has gotten to the point where I can do this in a 10-minute time frame. It doesn't take me 45 minutes to do my makeup unless I want it to. That's a different story. But you can do this too once you become more practiced, once you learn the tools and techniques that you can do for your proper makeup application, for your skincare. But what I wanted to impart to you guys today is how to incorporate the mindfulness activity with your makeup, because I'm sure when you're learning how to do your photography, part of that is the makeup. How do you apply your makeup? How do you do it so that you can look great, so that you can feel confident? My advice to you is to do it mindfully, to do it with the purpose of becoming your superhero, to do it with the purpose of embracing who you are authentically, loving who you are, whether you're the hot mess like me, the hot mess mama, or you're cool, calm. My husband says cool, calm cucumber, but that kind of sounds funny. But that cool, calm person, regardless of how you're choosing to show up every day in your life or how you naturally show up every day in your life, my wish for you is that you can find a few minutes of mindfulness, so then you can practice your gratitude, because here's where it all comes together. I've been mindful. I've got my makeup on. I feel great now. Now I'm ready to conquer the world, and I'm going to practice my gratitude and say thank you for this opportunity to help myself feel good. And then I'm going to show up to the world in a better place. The last thing I want to say, because what I always do is mindfulness, gratitude, grit, overcoming the overwhelm, and a little bit of lip gloss and makeup, and those funky shoes. Funky hair, funky shoes. Choose something that's uniquely you. If your signature lip color is red, choose that. Mine is actually, when I do my events, on comes the red lipstick, because I wear my red lipstick. Yes, I have funky purple hair, and I wear these funky purple boots to any event that I do. But those are my confidence boosters. As soon as that lip gloss goes on, I'm good to go. Now, my question to you guys is, what is your one thing that you think you can do differently than what you're doing now to become more mindful and to create that confidence specific to your makeup routine? Because there's so many other ways I can help you, and that's where my courses that I create, that's what I do specifically in there. But here specifically for makeup, skincare, taking care of yourself. Petra, definitely skincare. What is something that you think you can improve upon for you so that you can feel better about yourself?
Yeah, for me, that definitely is skincare. And I find it really, really super interesting what you are talking about, because I never looked at this as an opportunity to incorporate the mindfulness into your makeup or your, I mean, I talk about it all the time in my courses about mindful photography. So there it's like a natural for me, but the makeup or the skin, never thought of it that way. So that's really, yeah, an eye-opener. So thanks for that already.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, if anybody has any questions that they'd like answered, I'm more than happy to. I know I zipped through this, and it just to try to be mindful of time, because I really love to talk about this, and I love connecting with other women, especially women who are in this type of program that you have, Petra. And anytime, if you want tips or tricks on makeup, if you want tips on how to become more mindful in other areas of your life, makeup is just something that we don't consider being mindful about and incorporating it into our mental well-being. I've learned how to take all the aspects. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. All the aspects of our life, and how does that fit into my mental wellness? And if it doesn't fit in for me to be confident, because that 46-year-old woman, I got to tell you, I've had 2 kids, 4 pregnancies, 2 kids came out of them. My body's been through this craziness, and I look at my body sometimes going, oh God, I don't feel very confident, and I don't feel very good about myself. But when it comes to being mindful, then I can look at myself in the mirror and say, I actually do love myself, because I've taken a moment not to just walk by the mirror and go, oh God, right? I've taken a moment to say, my skin is soft. My hands feel great. This feels nice when I do this. And it reinforces those positive affirmations in our brain to the emotional aspirations of our heart. So our affirmations and our aspirations come together when we take those few moments to become more mindful of our activities. And how do you become more mindful when you're a crazy businesswoman trying to get things done and take your photos and show up for your business partners? I try to do it as quickly as I can, or not as quickly, I should say, as efficiently as I can by incorporating as much as I can together. So my mindfulness activities don't come at nighttime when I sit down and go home and cross my legs. I don't do that. It comes in when I'm sitting down doing my makeup. And then I feel confident the minute that lip gloss goes on and I put on my purple boots.
I see that for Carla, the takeaway from this session is the mindful makeup. So that's really good. Rachel is saying having a makeup routine. I haven't got a clue. And I can confirm that for taking pictures, I have some clients who don't wear makeup at all. And I really would like to inspire them to put something on, even if it's just a lip gloss. But otherwise, you're, as you said before, you're kind of washed out and there's no energy coming from you. And I think just a little touch of lip gloss and maybe just a blush makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Absolutely right, Petra. One thing I can say to anybody who's super busy or doesn't want to have that full on routine. When you're doing photography, even if you don't want to put on a foundation, I choose to use makeup that is actually for the pros because I only put makeup on when I'm presenting, typically when I'm on stage or when I'm in a setting like this where I'm talking to other people. I typically put makeup on, not because, look, I showed up without makeup here and I'm not shy to do that, but because it helps me feel better, right? So I can show up a little bit better. Without makeup, that's fine too, but you get the different hot mess mama, right? That's a whole different persona. But if you're not going to want to, for your photography, specific to what we're talking about here, if you don't want to put on a foundation or a little bit of powder, even just to even out the skin tone, take care of your skin. I don't have to put makeup on if I don't want to. I can just put that lip gloss on and a little bit of even mascara, and my eyes pop and my lips look good because I've taken care of my skin. So I would say skincare is your first and foremost. And for photography, throw on a little bit of lip gloss and maybe some mascara. But if you really could, if I could beg of you, for your photography, especially the beautiful, stunning photographs that Petra is showing us how to do yourself a favor and maybe get some steps into putting on a little bit of more makeup, even more so than just your lip gloss. Because when you look at those photographs afterwards, you're going to go, wow, I look great, or oh my gosh, I don't look washed out, or I do look washed out. And the reality is, you might criticize the photograph thinking that you didn't take a good photograph, but you gained all the tips and tricks and tools on how to take a great photograph, but not having makeup on may make or break that beautiful photograph for yourself. I'm not saying you need to in order to look great. Embrace your natural beauty. But for photography reasons, even men wear makeup. I've done runway makeup for fashion shows where men are part of the fashion shows. And guess what? Men get eyeliner on their eyes and mascara. What? Because when we have the big lights shining down, they look washed out and you won't see their eyes. And especially in a fashion show, the models need to look at who's watching them. They need to connect with the eyes in order to have a better show, so to speak. Even if they can't see because of all the lights there, but we can see them. So what I would suggest to you is really try your best to maybe want to put a little bit of makeup on for your photographs. Now, I do photographs raw and real because that's me. I am the hot mess mama. So I showcase right from the beginning of dirty diapers all the way through to made up and beautiful for a date night with my husband. And that's okay. But for your business branding, I'm sure that many of you are here to learn about that. It's important that you have a little bit more of this made up, not just because of the look for your photographs, but how it's going to show up here in your heart and how you're going to show up and present yourself to your guests and to your audience. Do I have, what do we say here? Sometimes your skin looks a bit red. Rachel, I'm not sure if you're saying if that's my skin looks a bit red on the camera or if you're talking about your skin with red. Maybe I missed something ahead here. Do I have a preference for waterproof mascara or not? Okay, so I use two mascaras. One's waterproof, one's not waterproof. My routine, I personally prefer not the waterproof because I don't like taking my makeup off. I get into my day, I put my kids to bed at the end of the day, and the last thing I want to do is take off my makeup. And I do use makeup that is professional grade makeup that does require a two-step removal. So I spray my face with my makeup remover and I leave it, and my mascara also will come off then. And then I wipe that and then I cleanse my face. You really should use a makeup remover to take your makeup off rather than just a cleanser, because the cleanser won't get deep down. And that, especially if you're using a makeup like myself, the makeup that I use is makeup that will stay. So it has great stay power and it has great pigment. When you're choosing your makeup, you want to choose makeup that has really good pigment for photography, especially because you might choose makeup that has, it's great color, and when you go out on your date or you're going to work, it looks great on you. But remember, again, what we were talking about, the depth of color. When you're doing your makeup for photography, it's important to have the depth of color and stay power. So I've chosen a line of makeup that gives me the depth of color, the stay power. So with regards to the mascara, both of my mascaras stay really well. Even my non-waterproof doesn't run when it's hot like it is today at 45 degrees with our humidity here where I live in southwestern Ontario. It's super hot today, but my makeup doesn't run. I put my makeup on in the morning. I go and I do my live videos, my Zoom meetings. Then I go out for a run later, and I even do it in the summertime, although I haven't recently, but this is my regular routine. I go out for my run or go out for my walk, and it's hot, and the kids are playing in the pool. I come back home, and because I'm in my workout gear, I just jump into the swimming pool with them, and I still have my makeup on, splash around with them for a little bit, go in the house, get cleaned up. I don't have to refresh my makeup. I just do my lip gloss again, and I'm ready for my next meeting. That's why I choose the kind of makeup that I do, so I don't have to redo my makeup 2 or 3 times a day. It's a pain in the butt. So the mascara that I use, if I know I'm going to be going swimming or things like that, I'll put waterproof on. For regular day-to-day, I just wear the regular mascara, and I still don't get wet lines coming down my face. So it all depends on what kind of mascara you're using. Some people can't tolerate waterproof mascara. It's in the removal process. If you know you're a crier, waterproof will probably be what you need. Going to a wedding, waterproof is what you're going to need. If you're going to be with lots of lights on you and you're going to be hot, waterproof is what you're likely going to need. But simply for everyday use, you can get away with a good mascara that's not waterproof. And again, I'm going to make a note. I'm going to post some links to for you there, mascara of what to get there. One skin on photo. The redness in a photo, you can use redness reducing makeup, color correcting makeup, and that's where concealers come into play. The foundation that I use, even without concealers, actually gets rid of redness. I typically have a lot of red on my nose from a bad burn that I got when I was a teenager, and with my foundation, for the most part, it covers enough. But if not, then I'll go on with some concealers, and then we get into color correction if it's very severe, looking at greens or purples and different colors of concealers to use for that. But that would be more of a one-on-one consultation where I can answer that more specifically.
I'm looking at the questions in the comments, and I see that Rachel asked a question before, but I think you kind of answered that already. I think you can both improve through makeup and lighting when taking a photo. So yes, that's what we talked about. And even though some people really are not wearing makeup at all in daily life, but for photos it really is a good idea to put at least some on. The wrinkly neck, that was me, and we talked about that as well. And I love the glowing instead of sweating. I don't know where it is where you all are, ladies. I think in the UK it's warm as well. In my room, I'm talking in my house, it's now 31 degrees, and I just had to shut down the climate control because it made too much noise. So I'm like, oh my God, it's so hot here right now. So yeah, I'm glowing. I'm not sweating.
We're glowing. And just so you know, we don't pluck our eyebrows, we tweeze them. And we don't have armpits, we have underarms.
Yeah, that sounds so much better.
Right. When I was in school for aesthetics, I had a very wonderful teacher who taught me these little terms. She says, Josie, you never are sweating as a woman. You are glowing.
Yeah.
That's okay. And there's ways to control and manage the glow as well.
Any other questions? I think you all picked them up. So if anyone has any other questions, I just noticed a comment of Janet. I love makeup from a little girl, but never thought about mindfulness. Yeah, such a great way to connect with yourself. And yes, I agree with that, Josie. It's a really cool way of looking at doing your makeup. And Carla saying the same thing. I've always thought of skincare being self-care and makeup a core. You say it like that?
Sure. Yes. That was Carla. I think you said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Carla, I'm with you. Truthfully, I love makeup. When I was a little girl, I said I want to be a makeup lady. I want to be a makeup lady like my mommy. And I did. I grew up to be the makeup lady. I mean, I'm achieving all my dreams. But I tell you, to me as a grown up, as a mama, as an entrepreneur, as a woman who does presentations and everything and still tries to manage a household, it's a chore for me. So, in order for me to not feel like makeup is a chore, I have to incorporate it mentally into an activity that I enjoy. And I do enjoy being mindful about things. I enjoy taking the time to get into the flow of it. Now, if doing your makeup for 3 hours is going to take you away from feeding your kids, maybe don't do a 3-hour mindful makeup. Take the time that you need to do it. If you get frustrated and need lessons, by all means, you can reach out. Like, I'm not here and done. I'm present for you. But practice with yourself and tell yourself, because we believe what we tell ourselves. Again, one of the exercises I teach people is change the story you're telling yourself and how you tell it to yourself. So if you're telling yourself, makeup is terrible, I don't like doing it, it's a chore, that's true. And I'm with you, Carla. I feel the same way. But since I've started changing my way of thinking of it, where no, it's not a chore because I'm putting lipstick on and it's going to make me feel amazing, and then I'm going to show up better for my family. And when I go downstairs, my son sees that power makeup, that power red lipstick that he chose for me. He knows he was part of mommy's confidence, and he goes, oh, mommy's going to work. Mommy's got that makeup on. So now it's not just about putting color on my face. It's about this. It's about sitting up tall. It's about being, wow, I feel really good. I wear this necklace. It's a simple necklace, but I wear this all the time because it's something that anchors me. I see it, I feel it. It anchors me to be more calm. I put on my makeup when I have to show up. And so, Carla, if you can tell yourself, this isn't a chore. This is actually me taking time for myself. And I'm just sitting here and I'm putting on my foundation. I don't care if it takes me an hour, or if you have to be fast. Okay, I have to do this. But you can still be mindful in a speedy way. But it's about thinking only of what you're doing, not about all the other stuff that's going on around you or what you have to do. So when you're putting on your makeup for your photography, for your photographs that you're going to be doing, or your work or your meetings, don't think about what you're going to be talking about. Like me, when I go to do events like this, tomorrow I have another session that I'm going to do with one of our colleagues, and I'm talking about emotional anchoring. But so I have to do my makeup, so I'm going to have it all done before. But when I'm doing my makeup, I'm going to force myself not to think about emotional anchoring, not to think about what I'm talking about tomorrow, or like when I'm going to be doing it. In the moment, I take this 2 minutes, this 5 minutes, this 10 minutes, however long it's going to take me, and I'm focusing just on this, what I'm doing. But that also includes my cleansing routine. I'm going to get up, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to cleanse my skin, I'm going to put on, seriously guys, you don't need to do all those 5 steps, 6 steps like I mentioned earlier on. You can do a 2-step skin prep. That's super simple. And that's what I do because I need to make breakfast and everything for my kids too. Cleanse, put on some serum, my spritz. There's my face ready to go. putting on my makeup, and I'm good to go. But I'm not thinking about the conversation I'm having 5 minutes from now. I'm thinking about what I'm doing right now. And that's where the mindfulness comes in. So what? A little thought of my dog scratching downstairs pops in my head. Oh, okay, acknowledge it. This is what mindfulness is about too. Acknowledging if something distracts you, but don't give it the attention. Let it just flow out the other side. So while you're doing your makeup as your mindfulness activity and loving yourself and boosting your own confidence, it's like what sports people do. Sports athletes. I'm like sports people. It's like what athletes do. They work themselves up in preparation and get excited about what they're going to do next. They know their plays that they have to do, but they still have to work themselves up and get pumped and get powered, and they have that coach talking to them. You're your own coach. Entrepreneurs, we're our own coaches. We have to speak to ourselves in a way, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. I don't know all of your backgrounds, but even just as your mom or as the single working woman, you're your own coach in your wellness. And I'm all about proactive wellness. So if you can be proactive by taking mindfulness to that step of acknowledging the mental chatter that goes on, but letting it go and focus back on what you're doing. Whoops, I thought about supper tonight. Nope, not supposed to think about that. Let me go back and put my blush on now, right? That's about the mindfulness. And there's so much more to mindful makeup that we can go through in like series of workshops and courses. This is just a glimpse into it and seeing how it can apply to you, and then how it applies to what you're doing here in your camera photography courses that you're taking.
So Carla says, yes, I have a go at that. Thank you, Josie. Sounds great. And I'll practice being more present when applying my makeup. I think we all will be, because I found this really interesting and yeah, real eye-opener. So thank you very, very much, Josie. I don't know if any of you ladies have any more questions. If so, now's the time. And if not, we are going to... thank you so much, Josie. So no question, just a thank you. And Rachel says, promise I'll take the time to get the warm water running when I cleanse my face this evening.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Let your skin breathe and it'll thank you. And then I don't know how old everybody is, but your skin will thank you. As you get older, it'll be like, thank you for taking the makeup off. I can breathe at night. Yeah. Thank you. Janet says, thank you as well. And yeah, I think taking off the makeup at night is for me a big thing to pick up from now on, because I must say that I'm not really good at skincare and all that kind of stuff. And you help me a lot now, realizing that I really should, especially as we don't have that much age difference between us. And I think, wow, your skin really looks amazing. So, well, thanks very much, Josie. I really love this session with you, and I knew it would be great like this. I just love your personality, your energy, and yeah, I'm really happy that you wanted to come here and do this session for us. We'll put the document with all your tips. It will be in the comments, maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight, but it will definitely be in the group and in the event comments, or with this video. So, and if anyone has any questions for Josie, you can put that in the group, and I'm sure Josie will pop in and answer the questions there. Yes, definitely. I have still a whole afternoon of time because we're only 2:40 in the afternoon. So I will put together all of the documents that we're talking about. I know for many of you it's nighttime now. So probably by the time you wake up in the morning, you'll have everything ready to view. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Josie. And I thank you ladies for being here. And I'm looking much forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.